please join me in welcoming 2023 Visionary Ball Chair, Lionel Rabb.
Hello, everyone. Loud enough? Great. Wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful to be here. We're going to run a quick intro video about our visionary honoree tonight, Dr. Charles Smith. That's it. It can get louder, people. Come on. I said Dr. Charles Smith. Now we're talking. All right, let's run the video.
My name is Charles Smith, a.k.a. Doctor, and I'm also 82 years old. Certified by the Veterans Administration as 100% disabled because of the fact of my entanglement with the Vietnam War. My mother's name was Bertha Mary Smith. A very devoted person to the raising of her children. If I could just be half the man that my mother was a woman, I'd be all right. And it turned to be true, because I'm following the very standard that she set. People that made a difference, not because of the academic credentials, the education, but I honor dedication higher than education, because dedication is a more valuable component of life's struggle than education. As the piece is being made and formalizing, it starts taking on identity. Once a sculpture is completed in the manner for which I complete it, and the material that I use to make it, and the desire to make sure that it stands, is my comment to say, that's in the earth forever. It's an amazing experience.
The best part about that video, Doc hadn't seen it. I get the bird's eye view of his reaction, and it's beautiful. The worst part about that video is anytime you got to follow Dr. Smith's words. Because his words, every time I see that video or hear any of his words, they're too powerful. It's too much to carry. So I think about the name of this award tonight, the Visionary Award. I've met many people in my life and many artists, but I have not met anyone with the ever-expanding vision of Dr. Charles Smith. And that is worth a round of applause for this man. There isn't a day or two that goes by that my phone doesn't ring or I don't get a text message from someone saying, call Doc, because he's got another idea. And every one of them is worthy to listen to and think about and work through and come up with a plan for. And I'm honored to be here to recognize him and to introduce him, which that video does a great job, but you're going to at least get 5-ish, maybe more minutes of him speaking to you, at you, with you. He always thanks everyone for all they do to support him. The people who've bought his work, organizations like Intuit. A round of applause for Intuit, please. These events are hard. It's harder in spaces like this that are meaningful for us to be in, but it's hard. So their team has done a great job. And so there's lots I can say about Doc. The video says a lot. He's going to say a lot. But I'll say this. A few days ago, he arrives by train after 30 hours. Says, Lionel, I got to get a haircut. Call my barber over at Soho House. Shoot over to Soho House. Gets up in the Soho House, gets a chair, knows the barber. I said, Duran, here's Doc working on a 9-foot statue in 110-degree weather 2 days ago in Louisiana. All in it. 83 years old now. Duran, who's about 26, says, damn, I played softball yesterday and I'm beat to death. So there is nobody with the energy for his work. And he says it's inspired. It is beyond inspired. It is inspiring, as he is, as his words are. And he always is thankful to everybody, and I was saying this earlier, but we are all thankful to him for allowing us to walk with him, see his work, be inspired by his work, and seeing his vision and having it come to life. So I'm extremely happy to thank all of the sponsors for making this happen tonight, all the donors to keep Intuit going. Congratulations on the $5 million. Come on, people, it's $5 million bucks. From our glorious city that we all love so much, but it's nice to see the money go into a community organization like Intuit. I am personally sick of downtown money staying downtown. Our communities need it. Our arts organizations need it. Intuit is about access. So Dr. Smith is about access. When you make 100 statues and put them in your front lawn, that's access, baby. I also want to thank Kohler. John Michael Kohler Art Center is here, RKI. They were instrumental in taking Doc's work from Aurora, preserving it. We consider, as the Art of Dr. Smith, Sheboygan his third site. He is going there next to help program it further. So if you haven't been to Sheboygan, you got to see what they're doing because it's absolutely amazing. All right. With that, I'm going to introduce you, if you haven't met him, to the one, the only, Dr. Charles Smith. Come on up here. It's all yours, Doc.
I want you to know tonight, today, June the 2nd, 2023, will be a day that I will remember for the rest of our life. Yesterday, June 1st, was my wife's birthday. She passed January 21. And she told me once, she said, baby, one day they'll recognize you for what you've done. And getting into entanglements with city councils, ministers, people of leadership status, I told her that won't hardly happen. But it happened. And you are the witnesses that it happened. And I'm so honored I really came to say thank you. Thank you for the many of you that made it possible for me. Because without you, there would have not been me. I think back to the day when I met Cola by way of Mike Nolan, a member of Intuit at the time. He came by my house and he left a note on the door. He said, "Man, I was blown away by your work. I'd like to talk to you." So he came back one day and told me about an organization that he was affiliated with, that I need to meet them and they need to meet you. And we did. And that was the beginning of a great journey of the fulfillment of my mission. My mission, I feel in person from God, was to bring this black and white thing together, to let us know that God took one blood and made us all, and he loved us all. And that was my focus, like aiming a rifle, knocking down the ugly enemy of hatred, division, confusion, lack of knowledge of history of one another. And it worked well. The greatest statistic that I give of the museum is that 90% of the people that come there, support the art, purchase the art, 90% is white. 9% is Hispanic and other cultures, and only 1% is black. When I do that lecture conversation at the colleges, the students always say, "Well, Dr. Smith, why is that?" I say, when you're ignorant to who you are, what you owe to the slave's prayer, what you owe to the dream of Dr. King, what you owe to all those young black men that died on the battlefield defending America where they couldn't be buried in certain graves in their own hometown. I said, that's absolute ignorance. That's what it is. And I knock it down every time I see it. I shared with them in such a pounding way, and then using in reference of the matter the profound word of God. And when they don't know it, they're astounded. But it's been there thousands of years. So I'm honored tonight to be a part of this. Moving from the path of being nobody and nothing to everybody, God made me through you. And I thank God for that, because it wasn't me. Because when I went to God and I saw what was happening in April of 1968, when Dr. King was assassinated, I was like most people, torn, broken. I just came home from Vietnam in '68, full of the hate, full of the killing, full of the psychotic craziness, and high most of the time. And I recall so clearly how I had a shower one night, and I laid my hands against the wall, and I said, "God, find a place for me in this fight. Find a place for me." And thank God he heard the prayer. And eventually, somewhere down the road, it wound up being art. Art is the most powerful statement in the world. Without moving or talking, it astounds those that view it. And like I shared with another artist, when you make a piece, wherever it stands in somebody's home or in their yard, make it demand that space, and you'll never worry about selling your art. And I'm honored for that. And meaning behind that, God allowed me the honor one day of meeting Terry from the Cola Foundation, the Cola Arts Center, and the many professionals of that organization one day introduced themselves to me about the art. And we talked and discussed the art, and I told them what my mission was. I wasn't going to change my message, and I wasn't going to change my volume of my voice, and they'd have to deal with it. Terry told me, she said, Dr. Smith, we don't want to change your message. We don't want to change your voice. We want to support what you're doing. And out of that discussion, finally, came the opportunity to meet Miss Ruth Kohler. That was the most profound moment of cultural relationship. I look on her as my maternal mother in the spiritual world of the arts. Her vision is what an artist needs. And when you go to Kohler in the preserve, there's a letter before you go in the door. And it tells the whole story of Miss Ruth Kohler's vision. She told them in her testimony, don't forget to go into the byways where people are. And that's where I was, in the byway of life. And one day Kohler came. And it turned out to be a beautiful relationship. And that is where I learned ultimate professionalism. Ultimate professionalism. I didn't say much to them because I was busy watching what they did, what they were told to do and how they did it so effectively, without arguing, without back talk. They did it. And when they told them to tell me what to do, I followed it just like I was in the Marine Corps. And what they gave me, I demanded of others, because that's the only way you're going to help them. Let them know where they're short at. That's the only way this organization going to grow. Find the fault in it, tell them about it, and let them know we need to change it. And that way they'll grow, and this room wouldn't be able to hold the crowd that need that information. So I'm so happy tonight for what took place. Happy for those that made it possible. I have a young man here tonight, Mr. Reven Fellows, that helped in that work. It was Reven that went to the world and brought them to the museum, brought them to the art. Governors and ministers and the people that make a difference in funding, the state of Illinois is representative. And all of this is what made the work. I can stand another 20 or 30 minutes talking about individuals that made a difference. And that's what made it happen. And I thank God especially for this lady. This lady.
I'm the timekeeper, Doc.
Her name identifies her power. Miss Stone. Miss Stone. Lisa Stone. Nobody does anything in art without touching bases with Lisa Stone. And I'm glad about it. So like Lionel said, we're going to let Dr. Smith talk, and he's not going to stop until you stop him.
Does that one work? Okay. Take that. Okay, hard act to follow, Dr. Charles Smith.
Always is.
I'm telling you. But we know he's been many, many things, starting out as a son, a brother, later an uncle, a grandson, a student, a Marine. a veteran, I'm not sure if I'm going to get this in order, but a community organizer, a minister, later a placemaker extraordinaire, an artist, an educator, now an elder, and
A visionary. The best.
this is a beautiful work by David Lee Sisko, who has been doing Intuit's Visionary Awards for a few years. And Dr. Smith, we love you. We thank you. We're honored by your presence. And I'm going to turn it over to...
I'm going to make one announcement really quickly, and that is, if you have time tomorrow, come to Intuit to hear. I'm going to interview Dr. Smith, and you can hear more, and you'll see why we love him so much.
And, oh, you, go ahead.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. I'd also mention the National Veterans Art Museum is extending Dr. Smith's show at the museum in Portage Park through August 21st. So if you didn't see the CBS clip, it was a great clip last night. They may run it again Saturday. And there's a new sculpture garden opening with Dr. Smith's work on June 11th. So we'll send that information out also. So 1:30 tomorrow with Cleo.